Hey everyone, I'm artist Andrea Kirk. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to paint a realistic caramel apple using acrylic paints. For this project, you will need an 11 by 14 canvas, a disposable plate, paint brushes, paper towels, a cup of water, a brown Prismacolor pencil, and an art gum eraser. I also used the Master's Touch 48 count set of acrylic paints. These are the colors that I used from that set. I will name specific colors as we begin mixing. You will also need gloss gel medium or acrylic retarder. To begin, take a ruler and make 2 marks 4.5 inches up from the bottom of the canvas. Then turn the ruler horizontally and draw a straight line across for the tabletop. Next, mark where the bottom and the top of the apple will sit. Then, loosely draw a circle for the apple. At the top, draw a sideways oval. Add a slightly curved line in the middle of the oval. Next, take your ruler and draw 2 parallel lines on a slight angle for the straw. Then wrap the curved line around the straw. Erase all of your extra lines. Now draw the base of the caramel apple like this. Draw a circle around the straw to show where the caramel will begin. Then draw your lines on the straw. Slightly curve the lines as they round the straw. Once again, erase any extra lines. Now shade around the base of the straw and also the lines on the straw. Be sure to copy my pattern exactly. When finished, your drawing should look similar to mine. Let's begin with the foreground and the background, and I have my colors laid out here for you. This is the gloss gel medium, titanium white, neutral gray, ocean green, sky blue, burnt sienna, and ivory black. And these are the Master's Touch paints, so you can find those colors in the set of 48 that I purchased. And you can find those on hobbylobby.com. That's where I purchased mine. So anyway, we want a light foreground. And so we're going to do, for the table that the apple is sitting on, we will have just a few shades of white and gray, and we can add a little bit of blue within that. So take your titanium white and take your ocean green. Blend them together, and that will give you a really pretty light blue color. And then swipe your palette knife over here, take some of the sky blue and mix that together. And that will give you a darker shade, but we don't want it to be quite as bright as that. And so to tone it down, you just take some ivory black and mix that in. Okay, and now you're thinking, well, that's really dark, which it is, yes, but what we do, we'll need that for a shadow, but take this, swipe it, and add more titanium white, and this should give you the perfect color. So now we have a really nice gray that has a hint of blue in it. Okay, and then from there, we can also do a hint of brown. So take that burnt sienna. Notice how I swipe my palette knife over here with the gray and mix the sienna brown in there. Okay, and again, it's dark, but to brighten it up, swipe your palette knife again, add more titanium white, and you have a lighter shade. And so we can do a lot with these colors here. Let's go ahead and paint the foreground, and then I can show you how to paint the background where it gets darker. So let's get started. So for the foreground, I'm going to use my large flat brush. This is really good to use for painting a bigger space. And then I will also be using my thin square brush just to go around areas, like underneath the apple and just the shadows that I add. I will be using this brush. Make sure you use your gloss gel medium, and you want to dip your brush into that, and then take your blue, your light blue, and just add some of that up here. You want to go somewhat heavy. Take the light gray and paint toward the base of the canvas, gently blending as you go. Spend some time softening and blending into the light blue. You can also dip your brush in straight white, and if you want to brighten a spot back here just to add some appeal to the lighting in the picture, in the painting, you can do that. With that gel medium retarder, if you use that, your painting will go so much faster, and your paints will blend much better together than they would without it. So I greatly recommend that. So down below, that's where you'll be a little bit darker. Make sure that you paint the edges. And then take that light blue again and apply it in the middle of your foreground like we did over here. And swipe your brush in between colors just so that you can blend more easily. If you had too much blue, then the gray wouldn't show up, and so you want to swipe some of that blue off and then blend that. And then add white here. And then you'll go blue at the top and then fade that down. Then wipe your brush off and just take the edges and clean those up around the sides. Okay, and then take your square brush and use that to do all the detail around the apple, because it can get in really close. And then again, just blend your colors together evenly. All right, and then underneath the apple, you'll take the square brush and you're going to paint a shadow underneath the caramel. And then take your light gray and mix the two together so that you get a nice blended edge that fades. So leave all of your colors in place because we'll need some of these, but now we're going to do the background behind the apple, and we want that to be really dark. So take black, ivory black, and burnt sienna, mix those two together. And then I want you to swipe your palette knife on your paper towel and then take blue and mix that in. And what that will do is that will give us kind of a purple tint. And then swipe that over here and add a hint of white. And then mix the remaining burnt sienna. And then you get a really deep rusty color. So these two will be for the back. And what you'll do is you'll just crisscross back and forth as you're painting so that they blend together. So make sure you get a lot of gel medium on your paintbrush so that you can do that. I'm going to show you a couple of strokes before I put it on time lapse. So apply gel medium on your paintbrush like we talked about, and the darker shade, so the black combination, and you can see the gel medium in there, but that will just blend in as you go. Okay, so apply a good amount of paint along here, and then take that smaller square brush and use that along your edges. And again, I'm going to stress this a lot, but use that gel medium. I would not use acrylic paints if they did not invent that. I get way too impatient. Okay, and so what you'll do is you'll go around the edge of your apple and along the edge here on the tabletop and just clean up that edge, make it really nice and smooth. Try and keep it level. That can be hard to do, but do your best. Okay, and remember that acrylics dry quickly, so you don't have a ton of time. You have to work very, very fast. Okay, so at this point, put that brush in water so it doesn't dry out. And I want you to dip your bigger brush into the brown shade, and you're going to kind of mix the two together to get more depth in your background. Okay, so I'm going to put it on time lapse and just watch how I do this. Now take your fine tip brush and using both your gloss gel medium and gray paint, blur the edge of the table where it meets the dark background. These are the colors for the actual caramel apple, and we will need titanium white, and then here we have lemon yellow, light olive green, rose bright red, burnt umber, burnt sienna, flesh, yellow deep, gold, and then your gloss gel medium. And we need to mix up a color for the apple itself and then also the caramel. And you can use the highlight colors from your other palette for the highlights, for the blues and the white highlights that are in the caramel itself. So keep that other palette. If the paints have dried up, just mix up some more. But anyway, let's start with the apple. So take your light olive green and you want to mix a little yellow with it. Okay, this is a green apple that's underneath. And I'm going to swipe that over here. And I'm going to take gold, which I love this because it has that shimmer to it. It's metallic. And so as you paint your caramel, it's going to look like real caramel. So anyway, I mixed that gold in with the green, and I want to lighten it up a little bit, so I'll take the yellow. And then let's add some burnt sienna. Okay, and then I'll add the orange. Actually, it's called the yellow deep. It looks more like orange, but remember that it's yellow deep. Okay, and then let's take some titanium white to lighten that up a little. We had to use a lot of color in this to get just the right color. So this is the top of the apple where it's kind of brown. This will help it look more realistic by adding that. Take your yellow deep, take some of this and mix the two together so that you have two different shades, one more orange than the other. And so this makes this one look golden. Okay, and before I mix the caramel, let's go ahead and work on the apple itself at the top, and then I'll show you how to mix the caramel as well. So you will need your fine tip brush, and then also that skinny square brush. It's wet because I washed it, but you will need this one as well. So dip your brush in straight burnt sienna, and you'll just paint right along the straw in this corner. And from there, you take that golden color that we mixed, and you're going to mix the two together. Just blend them. Make sure that corner stays really dark, and then around here will be golden. And then make sure you don't see a sharp line right here. You want to blend that so that that line fades, so it's more of a shadow. Okay, so before we finish the brown up here, I want to paint the green, and then we'll do the brown on top of the green. So get your gel medium and take the green. And this is such a pretty color. So you'll paint along here. Make sure you use a lot of paint because the green tends to be a little transparent at first, but if you add a thicker amount, it won't look as transparent and you won't see the pencil underneath. Be sure to smooth out your paint strokes. And then take your fine tip brush and begin adding the brown on top. And you're going to do a series of lines over the green while it's still wet. And that way it blends into the green. You don't have any sharp lines. And see how beautifully that blends into the green of the apple? That's why you work quickly with acrylic paints, so that you can get that effect. You can also use your golden color back in here. And if you wanted to, you could actually go all the way out to the edge because it kind of blends into the caramel back there. fact, if you want to, you can use that golden color as caramel back in the back. So go ahead and do that. When mixing the caramel, we want some really deep shadows as well as some light areas and midtones. And so take your burnt umber and your orange and mix those two together. And that's going to be your darkest shadow. And then swipe that over here and mix this yellow shade, the yellow deep, and then swipe over here and take the orange and the yellow deep and the gold and mix those together. That will give you a really pretty orange color. And then swipe that over here and mix the light yellow deep. And with that, we might want to mix some titanium white. You want some areas that have a really light highlight, and that's a good color for that. And then again, from your other palette, you should still have some light blue shades, some grays. You should also have black, and you can use that. So this was for my other palette. If you want to do a deeper shadow, you can take the burnt sienna, burnt umber, and mix some black into it. And that can be for a really dark area. And then in some areas, you can just use the straight orange or the straight yellow deep or the straight gold. You can also use the flesh. So if you take flesh and mix that with gold, and then I have some orange already on there. So mix those together. Maybe add some burnt sienna. And as you're painting, again, if you see other colors in there that I didn't see that you want to add, go ahead and do it. You want to pay very close attention to all of your shaded areas and then also your highlights. So let's get started. Okay, so take your brush and start applying color. You want to do a medium shade. And then also you can mix that light orange shade that we mixed. So I've got the gold, and then that light orange. And just make your way around. And I would work quickly so that you can blend your colors together. Watch what happens when you get a lot of color on there at the same time. So you can save your bright highlights for the end, but for now, I'm going to build some deep color, and I wanted to show you how to do that. So my paint is really, really wet at this point. So this area would be the core shadow. Okay, and there's an area called reflected light, and that's over in here. To make the apple look realistic, you would do orange over here, because that's the reflected light on the other side of the core shadow. And then with that, You can add some of the lighter shades as well up in here. Okay, and then underneath, you want to get your deep darks right here. And then, here's the fun part. I'm going over to my other palette, and I'm taking gray and blue and mixing them together because I'm going to add them underneath here. And that also is considered reflected light. And that will just come up along here and meet up with the orange. So from here we need to smooth everything out, and then we can continue over here. So take your brush, and you might have to swipe some of the paint off as you go onto your paper towel so it isn't too thick and heavy. But basically you're going to go in and make this look smooth like caramel. And you do it while your paint is very wet. And can you see the sphere, the roundness of the circle of the apple? Kind of has a ball shape. It's because of how I'm doing my shadows and my reflection. And that's what will make this look so amazing in the end. People will wonder how you even did it. Okay, so look how pretty this is. With all my blending, it's coming together beautifully. I mean, the one nice thing about acrylics is that this will dry, and then we can immediately add the highlights, the really bright highlights, in just a few minutes. Okay, so over here it's going to be lighter. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get that light blue from my other palette, and I'm going to mix it with the white, and then just take that. We can do some of the highlights right now. I'm going to take some of that and put it in here so that we can blend it into the paint. Not all, some of it we'll add after, but I'm just taking some reflection here. Okay, and then watch what happens as I begin to blend the colors around it. Oh, and then one other thing, take that gray, that same gray that we used as reflected light, and you do want to wrap it around here as well. So continue that around right here. And then underneath it is where you'll add some of that caramel color again. Okay, I've never painted a caramel apple before, so this is actually really fun. I'm really enjoying this. Okay, so pull some of this gold up into here for more reflection. See how I just sneak it in there? Okay, and then just smooth out your edges. Add light blue around the top left of the apple for a beautiful highlight. Accent with additional orange to create even deeper reflection in the caramel. Also add dark brown to enhance multiple areas of the apple. You can also create more reflection by adding blue to the right side of the apple. Use white for your brightest highlights. You can do so by adding streaks and dots in random places. Now apply red to add even more depth to your color. For the straw, use straight white and black paint. Pay close attention to keeping your lines clean. Before adding sprinkles, paint the base of the apple black. Add blue streaks for highlights. Now take your fine tip brush and begin stippling orange, yellow, and black dots. Use heavy paint so the dots stick up off the canvas, appearing more realistic. You can also use blue paint to accent the black sprinkles even more. You can even paint sprinkles on the table. I added tiny gray shadows underneath some of them. I'm pretty happy with this project. It turned out really nice. I kind of wonder how many of you will actually go out and buy a caramel apple to eat after watching this video. Thanks for painting with me today. My goal is to help you succeed with art. Be sure to like and subscribe for many more amazing projects to come. We'll see you next time.